If you're still struggling to get clients in 2025 for your online service-based business, if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're an agency owner, if you are a growth partner, and you haven't started building a personal brand yet, I'm going to show you in today's video exactly why you're making the biggest mistake of your life, why it's going to be very difficult for you, if even possible, to compete in today's market, and why within the next 6 to 12 months your business is probably going to be obsolete. So we're going to be looking at psychological principles like the 7-hour rule, which you're seeing all over the internet, but the gurus teaching it to you don't actually understand why it's a thing, right? Why is it that you need to spend 7 hours of cumulative interaction time across 11 touch points in 4 different contexts? Why is that a rule, and why does the brain work that way? We're going to cover that. We're going to cover the 3% rule. Why is it that ads, why is it that cold outreach, why is it that all of these direct response mechanisms no longer work in today's market and just generally never worked that well to begin with? And we're going to be looking at a special concept called Dunbar's numbers. Now, this is the most important number in all of business. It's going to make you understand exactly how to build an audience of people who know, like, and trust you that you can sell to anytime for free, right? An asset where you can put $0 in and pull money out whenever you want. Essentially how you can create your own unlimited piggy bank for your business. There's a little drone flying around back here. The content team's running some content. We're actually in Cape Town, South Africa right now. We're building some Webbies and some VSLs out here. But back to the video. So this is why you have to understand, if you're doing things to get clients like cold outreach, like ads, these things are not going to work for your business sustainably. In fact, they're probably not going to work at all if you're in a very sophisticated market. And here's why. What you have to understand is that not everyone in a market is equal. Only 3% of your market at any given time is in buy now mode. Right? So essentially, if you are using tactics that are asking people to buy something, right? If you're not providing value, if you are trying to get someone to give you money, if you're trying to put an offer in front of someone using things like ads, cold email, cold DM, cold calling, here's what's going to happen. The people who see this message, right, who happen to be in the 3%, who are in buy now mode, these are the only people who are actually going to see your message, understand that it's solving a problem that they have right now, that they need to solve in real time, a problem that they have, that they want to solve, and that they can actually afford to solve. And those are the only people who are going to even consider going into your funnel. What's going to happen with the other 97% of people? The people who see your offer here, they might be problem aware. They might know they have a problem, but they might not want to solve it yet, right? They might not be in a position where they've built enough pain up where this is a problem that they feel they need to invest in financially. Or they might not even be problem aware. They might have a problem and they're not even aware that they have it, right? They might have a lead gen problem and they're convinced that they have some sort of other problem. Maybe they have a sales problem, but they think it's an offer problem. Whatever the problem is, you might be selling a solution that they want, and they might be unaware, or rather a solution that they need, and they might be unaware that they actually need it, right? And so what's going to happen to these 97% of the market? Well, they are going to bounce, right? They're going to see your ad, and they're not going to click on it. And that's why when 1,000 people see your ad, you're only getting a couple clicks there, because the other people aren't looking to have their problem solved. And so the problem with this model of using direct response, of using ads, cold emails, cold DM, cold calling, trying to get someone to buy something from you here and now, trying to get them directly onto a call funnel, is 97% of your market, the people who might need your solution in a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, 3 years from now, they are going to forget about you. They're going to bounce and they're never going to see you again because you did not manage to retain their attention, right? So this model is literally only allowing you to compete with 3% of the market. Now, what's the other problem with this? The problem with this is that everyone is competing for the same market, right? Everyone is trying to get the same 3% because everybody wants to make the money now. They want the people who are currently ready to pull out their wallets, their credit cards, and buy a 5, 10, 15K product, the $300 product, the $99 product, whatever it is, right? So you are now competing in the most competitive market with the highest cost of acquisition, and also cutting out 97% of your market, right? So how do you actually get this 97% of your market interested in your product or service? You need to provide them with value that is going to serve them long term And you need to signal that. So instead of trying to get someone to buy something from you and give you something, you have to come from a place of servitude and say, listen, if you are a business owner, if you're a marketing agency, if you are a coach, a consultant, a growth partner, if you are an e-com brand, whatever you are, and you're looking to scale, here is a resource, an asset, an ecosystem where you can get all of the tools for free, even if you're not willing to invest financially right now, right? And what is that? How do you share that? Well, video insights, audio insights, right? Podcasts, content being the most efficient way because you have both auditory and visual stimuli that you can show people stuff, have them listen to stuff, and retain them in one place. That's what a social media is, right? Social media is simply an ecosystem where you can retain someone's trust over a long period of time to get them to know, like, and trust you, right? And so the way to get this 97% of your funnel is through a personal brand. You need to create a vacuum, right? An ecosystem where 100% of your addressable market can go to and be nurtured until they are ready to be emptied into your sales pipeline. Now, how long is this going to take? Well, a lot of people are familiar with the 7-hour rule. And this basically explains that in order for a lead to build enough trust in a company to be willing to buy from them, it takes on average 7 hours of cumulative interaction time over 11 touch points in 4 contexts. Now, what does that mean? That means you need to have 7 hours of content or interaction, face-to-face content, spread over 11 different touch points. A touch point can be a piece of content. It can be an email. It can be a sales call. It can be a VSL. It can be a webinar. 11 different interactions, right? In 4 different contexts. And a context might be capturing someone's attention with short form, the top of your funnel, then pushing them to your YouTube, your long form, and then pushing them to a VSL, right? A video asset where they can learn about your core service, and then pushing them onto a sales call. This is an example of 4 different contexts, right? So why is this important? This is what nobody is explaining to you. Where did this number come from? A lot of people are just saying, that Google researched this and got the quantitative data and has been able to figure out that on average is the cumulative interaction time required in the number of touch points and number of contexts. There's actually a much more important reason why this is the amount of time that's required to get someone to know, like, and trust you. And as we know, people only buy from people that they know, like, and trust. So what is the reason for this? Why does it take 7 hours to get someone from the 97% into the 3%, and while they're getting there, become the person they know, like, and trust and that they want to buy from, right? So here's why. It's because of a concept called Dunbar's numbers. Now, what does this mean? Essentially, Dunbar's numbers refers to the amount of space that your brain has for forming connections with people. So people assume that the brain has unlimited memory, and it doesn't. In reality, the brain only has 1,500 face slots. Now, what does that mean? It means that the average person's brain can only actually remember 1,500 faces, right? Now, some people meet a ton of people. If you're a DJ, if you're a public speaker, if you work in a public domain where you're talking to a lot of people, you're constantly meeting people, right? The second Dunbar's number, which is even more important than the face slots, is this: 150 emotional slots. It's roughly 10%, right? Or it is 10% rather. Now, what does this mean? Out of these 1,500 face slots that your brain can capacitate new people to memory, it can only form emotional connections with 10% of these people, right? 150 people. And so the game of personal branding is this. It's how do you win one of these 150 emotional slots in someone's brain that's competing with their parents, their friends, their personal trainer, their grandma, anyone that they've developed a strong connection with, the people that they know, like, and trust. You are literally fighting to remove one of those slots from their brain and gain access to it with your own offer. And the only way you can do that is by providing context to someone's brain that you are worth remembering because you are providing enough value to them that is going to be important in the context of their survival. And this is the scientific reason why value is so important in content and why building a personal brand is so important. Because if you don't build a personal brand, you are going to be competing for the 3% of the market share that everyone else who is lazy is competing for. right? Whereas when you focus on providing the value and building a personal brand, you open up a blue ocean for yourself, because 90% of business owners are not willing to do this. They're not willing to do what it takes in order to win one of these 150 slots, right? And so again, in order to win one of these 150 slots, what you need to do is you need to provide value across 7 hours in 11 touch points in 4 different contexts, right? And that's why it's also very important that you are omnipresent, right? Putting your content in multiple places, right? And again, context is an important word. It's not simply a location. It doesn't mean to take someone from TikTok to YouTube to Instagram to Facebook Shorts, right? These are all short form contexts. You need to be able to take someone through multiple contexts in different places. It's the same way when you meet someone for the first time, or if you meet someone at a bar and you guys meet at the bar and you talk for a few minutes and you leave, you don't know each other very well. But if you end up going from the first location you met to a second location, maybe another bar, and then you go to a dessert spot, you've been in 3 locations now, your brain contextually thinks that you've known this person longer and at a deeper level than you actually do, right? And so whether this is for sales, whether it's for relationships, whether it's for friendships, the context remains the same. It is critical that you understand how to take people through various contexts. There's one more consideration that's very important here. So the whole time we've been talking about providing value, right? Providing 7 hours of value and 11 touch points across 4 contexts. Well, what is value, right? Value is something that's going to help someone solve a problem, right? And so most people think that they're able to provide value by making clickbaity viral content talking about here are the 3 top websites to get your gifts from, right? Or here's the 5 best way kind of viral hooks that are going viral right now. When you focus on repurposing very broad, very generic, very viral content, you are providing insights to the market that everyone else is also getting, right? And what that means is you are putting someone onto a saturated mechanism. You're giving them something that has high competition, and a lot of people are using it, and it's going to become desensitized in the mind of your market. And so if you want to be viewed as an expert who actually provides value, it's important that you are providing unique insights that you have earned through your own frameworks, right? You can't simply put out this content talking about these top 5 ways to do this, or these top 3 websites for this. You have to earn your insights, right? And the people who are able to do this, they're able to earn insights, they're able to share them, create an ecosystem where at least 7 hours of these insights are shared. They're able to get people to these ecosystems. We're gonna write this down real quickly, right? So the steps here for you to build a strong personal brand. You need earned insights. Next, you need a ecosystem. You need somewhere where these insights are held. Next, you need to get people here through a call to value instead of a call to action. So you want to be using a CTV instead of a CTA. You want to be telling someone, not, hey, come buy my product or service. You want to tell them, hey, I understand you have this pain. I understand you have this problem. I've created a place where you can find the solutions to this problem, and I'm not going to ask for anything in return. And so you want to use a call to value instead of a call to action and get people into this ecosystem, right? Once they're here, at this point, you need that 7, 11, 4, right? 7 hours of cumulative interaction time across 11 touch points in 4 different contexts, right? Once you've done this, and only once you've done this, you have someone who becomes a Dunbar's number. And once someone has come to this point in the process, they are wanting to buy from you and only you, because you are the only one who's earned one of these slots in their brain, and they cannot view anyone else as a viable solution to the problems that they're facing. Now, if you've seen our VSLs, if you've seen any of our sales assets in the past, you might be asking yourself, okay, so it takes 7 hours of content. How is it possible that in your VSL, you've talked about how you've taken complete strangers to paying clients? It's because of this core context that people are missing. What people are not understanding is this 7-11-4 rule. These 7 hours of cumulative interaction time. This is an average. This is what it takes the average person to be able to accomplish this goal, right? And that's because there's one very key variable missing. And that is neuro-emotional resonance, right? What does that mean? Obviously, this doesn't apply to everyone. It's not set in stone. It's not to say that it will take every client 7 hours to convert, right? Sometimes you have a client that converts in an hour, in 2 hours. Sometimes you have a client that doesn't convert at all, right? And so obviously, this is not a rule that's set in stone. So this depends on your ability to build that trust and to resonate with your audience. The average person, it takes them 7 hours to build enough resonance. Some people can do that very quickly. We've mastered being able to do this on average in 70 minutes. And why is this? It's because we understand that personal branding is not about content. I'm going to say that again. Personal branding is not about content. The word brand has nothing to do with videos. The word brand means how your market perceives you. If you look up the word brand in the dictionary, in the Oxford Dictionary online, it is about market perception. It is not about video volume. And so all the word brand means is, how does the market perceive you? Does the market perceive you like the person, like the best option in the market, capable of solving their deepest pains and problems? And the average person does not know how to resonate with their consumer because they make the mistake of thinking personal branding is about you. It's about what makes you unique, right? And it's not. Because personal branding is about the perception of your market. And what matters with perception more than what makes you unique, more than what you care about, is what they care about. I want you to think about the last time you bought a high-ticket product or service, or a product or service in general from a personal brand. And I want you to ask yourself, did you buy that product or service from them because they snowboard, or because they like Takis, or because their favorite color is purple? You don't care about that. The only question you ask yourself, and that people ask themselves whenever they're making a decision, including whether to watch someone's video, whether to get on a sales call, whether to buy from them, is this: with them. These are 5 of the most important letters you'll ever have to remember in business. And this means, what's in it for me? This is what people actually care about, right? What's in it for me? And so before you can talk about what makes you cool and what makes you unique and how you want to present yourself, what your packaging is, you have to first make people care about you by showing them that there's value in it for them, right? So this kind of understanding of personal branding is inherently flawed, right? We do not want to try to be unique as our primary focus. That's the secondary focus. The primary focus is understanding your dream customers, your ideal customer profiles, psychology. What are their dreams? What are their fears? What are the failures they generally experience? What are their suspicions and limiting beliefs? 2 different things. And who are their enemies? Now I'm going to go into a video breaking down each of these things in depth, what they mean, how to analyze them in your customer's mind, and how to leverage them to create content which actually has very high neuro-emotional resonance with your customer, right? So that when they see your content, they emotionally immediately resonate with it and they're forced to watch it. They get an emotional trigger, a spike, and they need to watch that video in order to give, to remedy that emotion, right? So the first thing you need to understand is, who is your ideal customer profile? What does your avatar think about? What do they do? What keeps them up at night before they go to sleep? What's the first thing that they want to do in the morning? Why are they doing what they're doing? What are they chasing? What are they running from? These are the things that you need to understand, and you need to build a personal brand identity around these things, right? And only once you've done that will your ideal customer profile care about you. So you have to make them care first. You have to show them that you understand them and you understand what their pains and their problems are, and you have the solution to their pains and problems, regardless of what you think is cool or what you like. And after you've done that, after you've made them care about you, only then can you make them connect. Only then can you start to build a deeper emotional connection by showing parts of your life, showing what you do, showing what you love, showing what makes you tick, right? And doing so in an authentic manner. Because it's only at this point that they're actually going to care about what music you listen to, what kind of wine you drink, what kind of clothes you wear. Everybody wants to know what Grant Cardone ate for breakfast because people just assume it's a leading indicator of his success. It might have something to do with why he's successful, or they're just curious. They want to see into the life of this person. They're curious about how he lives and what he likes and what he does. And they want to understand him on a deeper emotional level, right? And so if you made content, if you're watching this and you're not, an 8 or 9 figure entrepreneur, and you made a video about your breakfast, I'm pretty confident that nobody would care, is the unfortunate truth, right? And so you need to make people care before you can make them connect. Now, when you're building a personal brand, right? When you want to develop this 7 hours of cumulative interaction time, here's what you have to understand. You have to understand that people are not going on TikTok in order to be educated. If you're a dentist, people are not going on TikTok to learn about teeth. If you're a tax consultant, people are not going on TikTok to learn about taxes. People are going at the end of their long, stressful workday to take the edge off, to laugh, to smile, to relax, to get a dopamine spike, right? Social media is literally harvesting our brains and dopamine looping us to harness our attention for ad spend. In order to get someone to care about what you're selling, you need to understand that there's 3 different kinds of content, right? At the top of your funnel, you have audience building content. In the middle part, you have brand building content. And at the bottom, you have selling content. Now, the reason why we have to look at content creation as a funnel is for the following reasons. Again, people are not going to be educated. They're going to be entertained. We have to force them to want to be educated. And so in order to get their attention, to initially bring them into our ecosystem, we need to entertain them in a certain way. And that's why when you're watching content, you'll notice that for a lot of entrepreneurs, when they do things like street interviews, these often go viral. Also, content which has very flashy, fast edits showing these top 5 lists, 5 websites to use to find gifts, to find memes. These are more likely to go viral, but they're never going to make someone trust you, right? As we talked about before. And now lastly, you are going to want stuff which is as broad as possible in your niche instead of as niche as possible, right? You want content that's going to apply to as many people as possible. And we'll get into why that is in a second. But this is the kind of content which is going to help you get an audience. It's most likely to go viral. It's most likely to get far reach. And a lot of people are going to go from being complete strangers to learning about your brand and possibly following you. But the problem is this is never going to make them trust you, right? It's entertaining. It's providing them with emotional value, but it's not building any brand equity for you. And so once you've gotten people into your ecosystem, once they enter your funnel with the audience building content, the next thing is, okay, we've attracted the attention. Now we need to start to nurture it. We need to start framing you as the expert in your industry, the authority in one very specific thing, in solving a very specific problem or a set of problems, right? And so this is instead going to be your tutorials, and this is going to be your niche value, solving very specific problems. And this is going to be things about your values and your mission. And this is the kind of content which is now going to start to build your brand as the trust authority in solving this very specific problem. So you use audience building content to bring people into your ecosystem. You use brand building content to nurture them, to educate them on why they need your product or service, right? And then you use selling content to trigger a call to action, right? To get them to enter your sales funnel. And the best way to do this is with testimonials, with case studies, and with client interviews. And when people are able to see in this kind of content, someone who was in their current situation where they are right now, who is now in their dream state, and how your vehicle allowed them to walk from their current situation to their dream state, that is the only time that they're going to feel confident enough in buying your product or service to actually buy it. I'm going to break down each part of this funnel and why it's important. Audience building content. So why does this need to be broad? Well, how the algorithm works on social media is like this. All platforms are copying or moving towards TikTok's algorithm, which is a meritocratic algorithm. And what that means is it is an algorithm which no longer prioritizes sharing content based on your following, right? But instead on the merit of your content, how good your content is. And so how it determines that is based on only one individual factor above everything else, and that is watch time. What percentage of your videos are people watching and in what volume, right? Now, why does this matter? Well, social media is a business. Facebook, Meta, TikTok, these are businesses. How do they generate money? Primarily through ad spend. And so how can they serve as many ads as possible and sell as much advertising space to advertisers? Well, they need you to watch as much content as possible. And so if they see that a video has a high watch time, right, it's being watched all the way through, that signals them that that's good content that's going to keep people on their platform for long periods of time. And so they are going to organically push that out. Now, each platform has a pilot group, right, which is a group of people that don't follow you, that it will push your content to right away as soon as you push it. On TikTok, for example, it's roughly 200 people. This means that 200 people are going to see the content that you create, whether they follow you or not. And one of two things is going to happen. If at least 50% of these people on average watch your video all the way through, this will be shown to more people. It'll be shown to like 400 people. If it's less than 50%, it'll be shown to less people. Let's say 50 people. And this is like playing a video game. At each next stage, it will show it to a wider audience or a smaller audience. And it'll repeat the cycle of seeing what the watch time is. And if at 200, you get a 50% completion rate or 100% completion rate with 50% of your audience or more, and at 400, you do the same, then it'll go to 800. And then it does it again, and it'll go to 4,000. And it'll continue this process until either you go viral or you stop being shown to people if your watch time starts to decrease. Now, if you're going to be shown to 200 random people, people who do not know you, and they have different interests from you, maybe they don't care about what you're selling, how do you ensure that 200 people, at least half of them, watch your entire video? Well, the only way to do that is to make broad topics that everybody cares about, right? Now, what does everybody care about? There are three main categories that affect everyone in the world. There's health, there's wealth, and there's relationships. And within each of these three, there are subcategories, right? Within health, for example, we might talk about fitness. Within wealth, it might be things you spend money on. Relationship, it might be pets. And the more granular you get, the least effective it's going to be to an extent. But you need to find ways to tie your content into one of these three categories at the audience building level. How can you take whatever you talk about and turn it into one of these topics, right? An easy way to look at this, for example, is if you're a dentist, looking at how the shade of whiteness of your teeth affects the success in your dating life. This is content that everyone is going to want to watch, right? Because everyone is affected by relationships in their life. At the top of your funnel, you need to ask yourself, how can I create a content category or content categories within my content strategy, which are going to touch on one of these three categories: health, wealth, or relationships, right? And that is how you make broad content, which is going to appeal to at least 50% of the people who watch your video, okay? Now, at the brand building level, again, we talked about how the value here has to be earned insights. You can't just give these top 5 lists of websites to find gifts on. You need to share insights that you have earned through your work and your experiences and the frameworks that you have developed. This is the only way you're going to create insights which people haven't already seen 10 times on their feed. If someone's scrolling on their Instagram and they see the same insight 5 times and you're one of those people who shared it, do you think they're going to look at you as an expert? Of course not, right? So you need to earn those insights. And that is done through experimenting with the processes that you're using. This is why creativity is a huge part of business, right? And we'll go into how to creatively component optimize and component test different parts of the funnels that you're using, right? Very simple systems, fundamental systems, first principles that work for everyone, but how to tweak those or use messaging to position your offer as different. Now at the bottom, selling content. How do you effectively create selling content and why is it important? Well, here's why it's important. The reason why we want to use case studies, client interviews, and testimonials is because the only way someone will ever buy from you is if you can do these three things. You can show them the following. You can't only show them their dream situation, that you've achieved this. This is the mistake that most entrepreneurs make. Most entrepreneurs will show people, the Lamborghinis and the villas like this and the Stripe account statements, and they'll show, hey, look, I'm exactly where you want to be. I've achieved XYZ. I run a 7-figure agency. You should buy from me. You should listen to me. I can help you get here. Here's the problem with this. If you simply show someone that you are where they want to be, there is no relatability there or reason for them to believe that they can get there, right? Because in their current situation, they might be lacking a lot of things mentally to get there. They might think, for example, that you only got there because you have unique insights they don't have access to, or a network that they don't have, or money that they don't have, or intelligence that they don't have, or skills that they don't have. They will come up with a million different reasons in their mind why what you're selling is not going to work for them, even if it worked for you, right? And in order to avoid this, you need to show people that you're not just in this dream situation because you had an unfair advantage. You need to show them that you actually started exactly where they are now. You need to show them that you were in their current situation and now you're in their dream situation because you managed to discover a unique vehicle that was able to get you from point A to point B. And that vehicle is the thing that was responsible for the success. Not your unique insights, not your network, not your money, not your intelligence, not your skill, none of these things. You need to make them understand that the average person is capable of achieving this not average result if they're able to obtain this unique vehicle. And this is how you sell people on your product or service, right? Now, this has to be a unique vehicle. It is imperative that you are selling a unique vehicle, and here's why. If you are selling the same thing everyone else is selling, a generic vehicle, if you have a generic vehicle, like ads or content or web development or any other commoditized offer that everyone else in the market is selling, people are just going to lump that into all the other things they've failed with, right? You are probably not the first person who's tried to solve someone's problems for them. They've probably went to other coaches, other consultants, other agencies, other online service providers, other in-person service providers, and they've probably failed in the past. Or they've tried stuff on their own, they've tried running their own ads, they've tried making their own content, and they've probably failed in the past. And so you need to give them not something that's a better version of something that already exists. You need to give them a new vehicle, something new. As we say in marketing, better, or rather, new is always better than better. Let me give you an example to explain this. Let's say Sally is trying to lose weight. Let's say Sally has tried running and elliptical and treadmill and home workouts, and she has failed. She has failed with every single type of cardio that you can think of. She has failed over and over and over again. You will not be able to sell Sally a better form of cardio. When Sally thinks of cardio, Sally remembers all of the pain that she has experienced. And our brains are hardwired to avoid pain and seek pleasure. And so anytime you show Sally something that is cardio-based, Sally's going to run in the opposite direction. You can't sell Sally a better opportunity. You need to sell Sally a new opportunity. So how do you sell Sally on losing weight? What you want to do is you want to sell Sally on a belief. You don't want to sell people on an action because it's too obvious. It speaks to the conscious mind and they know you're trying to sell them. So instead you want to sell them on a belief, not something you're selling. You want to sell them on the belief that their current belief system is wrong and there's a better way to go about solving their problem. I'll give you an example. You have to explain to Sally, listen, it's not your fault. Because people always want to be absolved of their problems. They don't want to be responsible. They don't want to feel like they're incompetent because they won't trust themselves enough to try a new opportunity. So you need to tell Sally, listen, it's not your fault. You've been failing for 3 years to lose weight. You've been lied to. You've been led to believe that cardio is the way that you lose weight. But the reality is, and you need to use science here to play off larger authority, you need to tell Sally, the reality is it takes the body 4 hours to liquefy fat into energy, and it only takes the body 20 minutes to liquefy muscle into energy. And so what happens when you do cardio is you're just burning off your muscle and rebuilding it back overnight. It's not your fault. You've been lied to. Cardio is causing you pain because it's not actually capable of getting rid of your fat. The only way to actually lose weight easily, like water, consistently and predictably, is to convince the body that it needs to learn to use fat as energy instead of carbs. You want to tell Sally that it's been scientifically proven that the only way to easily lose fat is to convince your body to just use fat as its energy source, right? And what that is called, you'll teach Sally, is it is called putting your body in a state of ketosis. Okay? So cardio is pain. That's what's associated with the pain. She has to work out. She has to spend all this time running. She has to do something that makes her uncomfortable, and it's still not going to make her lose weight. But if she simply teaches her body how to put her body into a state of ketosis, she will burn fat naturally, easily, without even trying, without even having to work out, right? And this is how you sell someone on your product or service. Let's say you're selling a keto meal plan. Once Sally adopts this new belief, once she starts to believe that ketosis is what she needs and not cardio, and she feels so happy now because she knows it's not her fault she's been failing, naturally her brain's going to be in a state of cognitive dissonance. She's going to be in pain mentally because she's doing something she knows is not going to help her. And she's going to look for the option that aligns with her new belief system. And now it becomes very easy to sell her this keto meal plan. In fact, she'll come to you asking to buy it because now her brain needs something that aligns with this new belief. And so as a result, in marketing, when you're building your personal brand, you need to have your ICP congruency. So you need the personal brand identity to match with the ideal customer profiles, dreams, desires, pain, fears, limiting beliefs, enemies. You need to understand what those pains and fears are in order to create the new vehicle, a new opportunity, and we call this an opportunity switch. Right? You need to be able to sell her on this using belief shifting, and lastly, you need a way to get attention to this belief shifting asset. And so the key to building an unstoppable personal brand is being able to do the following. Understand your market's current opportunities. What's currently available to them that they're failing with? Ads, content, websites, etc. Understand the pain resulting from these opportunities. Right? With cardio, for example, people have to run every single day, which is very uncomfortable, right? With dieting's another example. Dieting sucks. Nobody wants to cut out things that give them pleasure, right? So understand what the pain is in your market. Number 3, create a unique vehicle which is polar opposite from the pain and the opportunity they're currently using and the pain resulting from it. You need to be able to show yourself as not better, but new. You need to show how what you're doing is completely different from everything else in the market, right? So if everyone is using ads, for example, you want to show them the same way we discussed at the beginning of this video, why ads don't work long-term at building a huge, massive brand, right? Because they're focusing on the 3% of the market. It's not their fault. They've been lied to. They've been led to believe that if they can just get attention, attention is the new oil, attention is the new gold, attention is going to solve all of their problems if they can just get enough attention. If they can send more cold DMs, if they can run more ads, they're going to make all this money. They just have to use your funnel to run all these ads and make all this money. You need to make them understand the reason they're failing because they've been led to believe that lie. And it's not the funnel, and it's not the ad strategy that's going to save them. It's understanding how to build trust instead of attention, how to get the 100% of the market, the other 97%, into your ecosystem, build trust until they've been educated long enough to know, like, and trust you, and then empty them into your sales pipeline, right? So create the unique vehicle, which is polar opposite from everything else in the market. So building trust with content versus building attention with ads, right? Once you've done that, and to be very clear, again, it needs to be a unique vehicle. So it can't simply be content, because content is a commodity too. Everyone's doing content now. So you need to find a way through your experience, your earned insights, to essentially say this is the way that you do content, which is different from how everyone else is doing content. You need to go a level deeper, right? Now, once you've done this, you need a belief shifting asset. We call this in our company a BSL, a belief shifting letter, right? A video which essentially does the belief shifting around this unique vehicle for you. It takes your clients into this video, they watch this video, and they understand all of the pain they're currently experiencing, why it's tied to their current opportunities, why they've been lied to, the new opportunity that actually is the science to prove it's going to get them to their dream outcome, and how they can actually implement this themselves to get from their current situation that they're currently at into their dream situation, and how you've done the same and how all of your clients have done the same, right? And then you need a way to drive traffic to that BSL, to that belief shifting asset. You need a way to get people onto that video sales letter. Now, it can be a VSL, a video sales letter in the form of a BSL, a belief shifting asset. It can be a webinar. It can be a 5-day challenge. This depends on the scale of your business, right? But whatever you're using as that mechanism to shift that belief, you need a way to drive traffic there. And so how do we do that? Well, you can use ads, right? And you can also use cold outreach, but the most effective way is always going to be generating an asset which captures 100% of the market, which is the content. And so we like to use content here, but there is a catch. Now, content, building an audience is the most leveraged asset you can ever build, right? Because if you can build something where you can put $0 in and even get $1 out, you're going to beat the guy who can put $1 in and get $36 out every single time, right? Because you now no longer have a cost of acquisition. You don't have to spend any money and you can get infinite return as a result. This is why Alex Hormozi, who was getting $36 for every dollar he put in, stopped spending so much money on ads and started investing $70,000 into content every single month because he understood the power of a personal brand. The problem is this takes time to build because it has an exponential growth curve, meaning the longer you do it, growth starts slow and then it starts to skyrocket. Now, ads and cold outreach have the opposite. They have a diminishing return. Ads, when you run them, they start being very profitable right away. And the more you scale your ad spend, the more of the market you're trying to go after and the more space you're competing with against other people and the less people remaining, the more expensive the ads get. And so when you run ads, instead of having increasing returns, you actually have diminishing returns. They become more expensive, they become less profitable, and it becomes very difficult to continue scaling with them. You hit a ceiling, right? And so as a result, the content will drive sustainability and build a business that can last forever. But the paid ads will help people get some quick wins into their business if they need money fast. So You should absolutely be making content, but it can also be a good idea to run ads to get those quick wins in order to be able to sustain yourself as a business owner, in order to have revenue coming in that you can put towards growth, right? So with this content, we talked about you need to have your audience building content, your brand building content, and your selling content, right? So if we reverse engineer this, this will allow you to get prospects, make them trust you, make them take a call to action. That call to action is your BSL, right? And in this BSL, you are going to be sharing your unique value, which is polar opposite to all of the pain that they are currently experiencing in the market, with their current opportunities, which you frame as the villain, as the problem, as the reason why they are failing to have their dream outcome. And this is the process that we used to scale our business from 0 to 7-figure run rate in 91 days with $0 in ad spend. By focusing on building a personal brand with psychology. Okay? And this is the same thing we've done to help countless of our clients do the exact same thing. Scale their brands to 7 figures in very short periods of time with very little money invested. And the reason why very little money invested is required, again, just to wrap this up and make this easily understandable. Personal branding is not about content volume, it is about brand positioning. Everything is about perception, everything is about psychology. People think they have a traffic problem. They think that they need to get more eyeballs. They think they need to run more ads, more content posted, more cold outreach. They just want to do more. And they're convinced that they can get enough people to see their thing, it's just a numbers game. They can get 1 out of every 100 people to buy their product. All they have to do is get more so they can keep getting 1 out of 100 people to buy their product. But the truth is they don't have a traffic problem. They have a conversion problem, right? They don't understand psychologically how to get someone to see their messaging, to see their offer, to see their content, to see their ad, and to say, me, I need this. I'm suffering from this pain. I want this. I need you to help me. They don't know how to maximize the perceived pain that the person is experiencing. They don't understand their customer's pain. They don't understand how to analyze the pain, how to maximize that pain in the videos, in the content, in the outreach that they show them, and then how to say, listen, I understand you. I understand everything that you're dealing with. I understand how bad this pain is for you, and it's not your fault. You're experiencing this because you're being sold this fake belief. You need to be doing this instead, right? And when you're able to psychologically understand and utilize your ideal customer's profile psychology and their pain in order to get them to take action, it's no longer 1 out of every 100 people that is going to convert on your assets. Now you're going to convert many more out of every 100 people, many more, especially because you are now going from 3% to 97% if you follow what we talked about, right? This is a 32 times larger audience. You are going to get 32 times more people converting on your assets without having to spend more money, without having to spend more time creating content, without having to do more cold outreach. You are going to create more output with the same amount of input. And the market is limited, right? Your total addressable market is limited. There are only so many people who need your help. And so when you do this, when you follow more traffic, you burn through leads and you're going to run out of people to sell to. And your business is not sustainable that way. You need to focus on solving the conversion problem, not the traffic problem. And that is done through psychological resonance, right? So You need to move towards this model, and you need to learn how to build a personal brand using psychology. And when you're able to use psychology to sell to your customers, you need a lot less attention than you think, and you need a lot less time than you think, right? Again, 0 to a 7-figure run rate in 91 days with $0 in ad spend. Now, if you want to see, and just to clarify, again, not only does personal branding have nothing to do with content volume, it even has nothing to do with followers, right? Again, it's market perception. It's not the amount of content you make or followers that you have. If you look up the word brand, it'll say nothing about followers or content. And so we've helped clients build 7-figure brands with only a few thousand followers, right? We've had clients scale to 50K with a few hundred followers. And it's because they've understood that it's not about getting more, it's about getting more resonance, right? So if you want to learn how to build a personal brand through psychology, we have created a training essentially breaking down this entire process in depth. Every single step of this process followed from A to Z of how to build out every single part of your brand, how to build out your offer, your opportunity switch, your unique vehicle, how to understand the pain in your market that they're currently experiencing, how to create the vehicle that is polar opposite to all of that pain and looks like nothing that your customer has ever experienced before and is new instead of better, so they feel confident enough to want to take action with it. How to frame yourself as the personal brand, which is perfectly congruent with their dreams, their fears, their failures, their desires, their suspicions, their limiting belief, and is best suited to give them the solution, the new vehicle, because you understand where they were, their current situation, where they are, and where they want to be, where you currently are, and how to get them there with your unique vehicle. How to generate attention for free using the proper content funnel, and how to do so without having to post every day, how to do so very efficiently, right? If this at all interests you, an infinite amount of attention at zero cost of acquisition, becoming the only viable product or solution rather to all of your customers' pain in the market so they don't consider any other competition. So you create a blue ocean for yourself, and how to convert them very quickly within 70 minutes on average instead of needing that 7 hours of requisite trust that all of these gurus are talking to you about, right? There's going to be a link somewhere below this video. And should you want help to accelerate this process, you'll also have the opportunity to book a call to speak with our team. If you're looking to start at this on your own rather than getting help right now, my recommendation would be that you subscribe to this YouTube channel, that you continue to consume all of the content that I'm going to be creating for free at no cost, and that you follow all of the information that I'm providing here, the exact blueprint that you can use in order to not become obsolete and die in the online marketplace. And as always, carpe omnia, seize everything.